I think part of the reason why France scare me as much as they do, and part of the reason why I picked them as champions this year, they're so malleable and can place in a variety of different ways. And when you look at their counterattacking ability, like if they want to, they can hold possession in your own half. They can basically play in the final third and keep the ball there. They can counter press. They have a bunch of cerebral players in midfield and attack. They have good defenders, but they can also play this more deeper role and just blitz you on the counterattack. And we have teams in this Euro that can theoretically defend really well, but none of them as devastating on the counter as France. And there's no other team in this tournament that can just get from point A to point B as quickly as they will in this tournament, just from a defensive position. And you saw that especially when Germany had to open up a little bit in the second half. And again, those goals were offside. If I were UEFA, I would have just allowed that Benzema goal just because it was a cool story. But
or the Mbappe goal that
was both of them deserve something.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I can already see if Spain play France, which actually may not. I'm not even sure if I look at the bracket again, but I think they can play at some point in the quarters or semis. I have to look at it again. But I can almost see exactly how that game will go. Spain will just get annihilated on the counterattack. That's what's going to happen.
Think like what happened against Sweden, with the exception of they're going to play against a team that can actually do damage to them on the counter.
You'll basically Sweden had Isak and who was inexplicably taken off in the second half. France will just have that on steroids, basically.
That's the thing. With Mbappe, it's repeat that one big chance that Isak got, repeated 4 or 5 times throughout a game. With Mbappe doing the finishing, it's scary.
So let's talk about Benzema. 41 touches in this game, had a nice synergy with Mbappe, which, again, excited Real Madrid fans, I'm sure. Maybe not as involved as I would have liked him to be, but I guess that's natural. I think, the thing with France, too, is their front three, none of those 3 players are traditional number 9s, and so they can kind of float around, and Benzema's not going to have the same amount of link-up stuff he'll do in Real Madrid for that reason. But tell me what you thought of Benzema's return. I mean, I know that he's already played a few games, friendlies before this, but this was the main one. So what did you think of his return to the French national team?
I think, I guess for me, it did feel a bit disappointing, simply because I thought that the friendlies were really positive, and he had a much larger impact there. But again, the opponent, it's just different level of opposition. It's not the same as playing against Germany. So it kind of makes sense that he was going to have less impact. In this case, there were still good combinations, good 1-2s with Mbappe, and he still had a positive impact there. But one wouldn't say if I had to give you the 4 or 5 most important French players in the game, it wouldn't be Benzema. So I guess for me, of course, I have my bar for Benzema, I have it up so high that I kind of expect him to do that. And when he doesn't do that, I am a bit disappointed. But I wouldn't say it was a bad game, just a normal kind of discrete game from him. So that's kind of my impression from him. And I would how do I put it? If he did every game of the tournament like this, I would be disappointed with Benzema's tournament, because I do expect him to take a bigger leadership role in this team.
Yeah. I mean, having said that, what happens if you replace Benzema with Giroud in this game, just as a theoretical, fun game? I don't think France's counterattacks are nearly as fun.
No. And it doesn't play off as well as it did. That is for sure. Those 1-2s with Mbappe wouldn't quite have happened with Giroud there, who is still who is actually a pretty decent striker for hold up, but just doesn't execute at the same speed. The reason Benzema is kind of made a legendary partnership with Ronaldo is that, yes, Benzema not only plays with his back to goal, but he executes at a speed that is that is devastating. So that was the main difference. And of course, when you have a guy like Mbappe, that speed of execution from Benzema when like getting the ball with his back to goal, that sets up Mbappe for some really really damaging attacking plays. So there's of course a lot of potential in that union. There were some moves in this game that showed that. Again, I think Benzema can do better than what we saw today, but yeah, we still like the promising signs of what that Mbappe Benzema union can bring we're still there throughout the game. That's for sure.
So let's explore that a little bit further, Jose. You've been a Real Madrid fan for a few years, so you lived through Benzema Ronaldo partnership together. When Ronaldo left, Benzema had this obvious uptick in goals, higher goal contribution to the team because he really had to. And I'm in the camp that I think Benzema should have scored more goals when he was playing alongside Benzema. I don't think that's necessarily an excuse because you see a lot of some of the chances he missed with Ronaldo feeding him were insane in those last 2 years with Ronaldo. Today was the first time I've seen him play with a Ronaldo kind of caliber left winger, just a cold-blooded, lethal player who can just lay waste to people on the wings. That was the first time we saw like almost the reincarnation of the Benzema-Ronaldo relationship. He had a quieter game today. Do you think that if Mbappe arrives at Real Madrid, it would go back to the old version of Benzema where he's not scoring as much?
That's a really good question. I would like to think that this kind of, like for now, my expectation would be that what happened in this game was just kind of a one-off, like something like, yeah, it was a bit of a disappointing game from Benzema, but it's not like, yeah, like it's just a one game thing and not something I draw big conclusions out of. And I would like to believe that this version of Benzema that has shown more leadership over the last 2 to 3 years, I'd like to think that even if you paired him up with another star striker, I would like to think that you can't come back from that. Like to me, that is kind of a jump, like in personality hierarchy within the team that Benzema has done in the last 2 to 3 years, and I'd like to think that it's hard for him to come back from that.
I agree. I also feel like Benzema's playing with a confidence now that he wasn't playing with like 3-4 years ago. There's just a certain alphaness to him now. Like even you saw with the offside goal, even though that's not a necessarily difficult goal, but he just took it with conviction despite not being involved much. I think the Benzema 4 years ago, I'm just like at least like 5% nervous that, a little bit of anxiety pushed up in him when he hits that. He hit it with a lot of confidence. So I agree with you. Let's end the podcast with Varane discussion. 8 clearances today.
Yeah.
I thought he was